Hello everyone and welcome back to Fallout 76. I'm Fisty McRib and today we're going to see how I did at the Purveyor Mystery Pick event from this past weekend. In this video, I want to try to take a few seconds to talk about what I like or don't like about the effects and items that roll, and whether I think they may or may not sell in a vending machine. I want to try to put a little bit of reasoning behind why some items are either very sought after or immediately script. I'm going to redeem a lot of script in this video across 5 Xbox characters and 1 PC character, so buckle up and let's get ready to embrace the inevitable disappointment that is the Purveyor. Alright, and we'll get started here. And remember, I'm going to try not to take too much time with this, but at the same time, I want to try to give you at least a little bit of an explanation of why I like something or why I don't, so maybe that'll help you going forward. And our first roll is a Hunter's Cultist Dagger with 50% melee damage reflected back while blocking and +1 strength. Not a good roll. The Hunter's effect, any kind of Slayer's effect like that is generally not good. They're too situational. Any melee weapon without swing speed or power attack damage is not going to be super desirable. And next up, we get a life-saving heavy metal right arm. Life-saving, not super desirable, +1 luck, 75% chance to reduce damage by 15% while sprinting. So it has the Cavalier's effect. Cavalier's effect is good. A lot of people like that. It's great for melee players, great for stealth players, for when they have to run quickly. Unfortunately, the metal isn't great, the life-saving isn't great, so not a wonderful roll. Ghoul Slayer's Raider Chest Piece. Become harder to detect while sneaking, +1 charisma. Again, situational effect. The extra sneak buff is nice, but Raider armor is not very good, so again, not really a good roll. Furious Meat Hook with 40% more power attack damage and endurance. This is a pretty solid roll. Meat hooks aren't as great as they once were before Wastelanders, but the power attack damage is good, endurance never hurts, so this could be one that would sell in your vending machine. Nocturnal Submachine Gun with faster fire rate and 250 damage resistance while reloading. The damage resistance while reloading effect is fixed now. Faster fire rate is always good in an automatic weapon, but Nocturnal is trash. It just is. There's nothing good about it. It gives you a penalty during the day, and it takes time for it to stack up to full damage at night. It's just not good. Nobody's going to want it. Immediately turn it back in for script. And here we have a Bloody Double Barrel Shotgun. Wow, that's going to pack a punch. Extra VATS critical shot damage, 25% less VATS AP cost. Yeah, this is a winner. If you're a shotgun build, if you're a bloodied shotgunner, this is a great roll. If you're not, you can definitely sell this one very, very quickly. Executioner's Harpoon Gun with limb damage and faster reload. Not a great roll. Faster reload is great on a harpoon gun, but Executioner's isn't. This is the kind of weapon that is going to kill most targets in one shot. Or if it doesn't, it's only going to leave a little bit of health left, so Executioner's just really doesn't do anything. The limb damage, on some weapons that's useful, but on this one again, this is the kind of weapon you want to kill things in one shot with, so not a great roll. It's heavy. I would turn this one in for script. Stalker's Ultrasight Gatling Laser with VATS hit chance and faster movement speed while aiming. This is instant script. It's heavy. It doesn't have any desirable effects for the weapon that it is. Faster movement speed while aiming is nice on heavy guns, but it's far from vital, and anything involving VATS is ultimately pointless because most heavy gunners are not relying heavily on VATS. Definitely dump this one. Furious Gatling Plasma with bashing damage and 25% less VATS AP cost. Well, the Furious effect is great on a heavy weapon. Absolutely great. 25% less VATS AP cost. Doesn't hurt. bashing damage is useless. Absolutely useless on any weapon. There's no purpose to it in the game. It simply doesn't do anything useful. But the Furious effect is good. Doesn't really have the other effects that people will look for, but being Furious, it would sell in your vending machine. Ghoul Slayer's Leather Right Leg with luck and damage while blocking. Yeah, no. No thanks. Auto Stim Wood Right Arm with reduced damage while blocking and luck. No. Wood Armor is not good, and Auto Stim is not desirable. Assassin's Gatling Plasma with fire rate and reduced weight. Well, the fire rate is good. The reduced weight is excellent. It really dramatically reduces the weight. But Assassins is not a good prefix on a weapon. There just isn't that much PvP in the game, and even if you are getting into it, a 10% damage buff isn't something you're gonna go looking for. You can get much bigger buffs with other effects, so not super desirable, but the faster fire rate is good. 90% reduced weight is good. Might be worth sticking in your vending machine for very cheap to see if you get a taker, but my guess is this will end up getting turned back in for script. Cloaking Trapper Right Leg with Charisma and reduced falling damage. This is another one that it's just not something people are going to go looking for. You could maybe put it in your vending machine really cheap, but nobody's going to go for it. Zealot's Hatchet with swing speed and strength. Well, the swing speed and strength are excellent on a melee weapon, but the Zealot's effect is not. Berserker's Short Pump Action Shotgun, 10% damage while aiming. That's critical meter fills faster. There are some Berserkers players out there. They might like this, but they're pretty few and far between. Anti-armor pump action shotgun with 25% faster fire rate, and VATS critical meter fills 15% faster. This is a good, solid legendary roll. It's not a god roll item. It's not something people are going to go crazy for, but it's certainly an upgrade over what a lot of people are walking around with. And if you're not a shotgunner, you put that in your vendor for 1,000 to a couple thousand caps, it'll definitely move. Assassin Switchblade. So we've been here before. Assassin's not great on weapons. Melee weapons, not great for PvP anyway. Damage while blocking is pointless because nobody blocks. And yeah, just no. This is just not a good roll. Troubleshooter's Combat Right Arm. 75% chance to reduce damage while sprinting. So Troubleshooters with Cavalier and Perception. Of the situational effects, Troubleshooters is probably the best because of events like Encrypted and running silos. There are a lot of players who build Troubleshooter sets. This one being a heavy combat armor piece is very desirable. Troubleshooter's Bone Hammer. Now, the flip side of that is true when it comes to weapons. Yeah, people just don't really care about the situational effects on weapons. Power attack damage is nice, agility is nice, but I just don't see anybody running around with that. Zealot's Marine Armor Right Arm. Increases action point refresh speed and weapon weight reduction. Well, now we're talking. The Zealot's effect is garbage. Nobody's going to want that, but the other two are highly sought after. You can definitely trade this for something, or it might be a good piece to use yourself. AP refresh and weapon weight reduction are two of the most desirable armor effects. Ghoul Slayer's Robot Right Arm, plus intelligence, food, drink, and chem weight reduced. Yeah, probably not great. Intelligence gives you a little XP buff. But the food, drink, and chems, there's perks and backpack mods for that. I just don't see people going for that. Another Assassin's Weapon. Now this one's explosive, and it has extra perception. Both of those are good effects. Explosive is always desirable, so even though it's Assassins, honestly, I would stick this in my vending machine for probably 1,000 caps, and I bet somebody will buy it just because the bullets explode. Exterminator's marine armor arm. No. Two-shot laser pistol. Damage while aiming and perception. Two-shot weapons will sell in your vending machine. People love the two-shot prefix. I'll be brutally honest, I don't know why. It's terrible. It destroys accuracy on weapons. It makes them wear out faster. It doesn't add significant enough damage compared to other things, but inevitably people will buy it. So if you get one, stick it in your vending machine and get some caps. Vampire's Deathclaw Gauntlet with limb damage and reduced weight. Vampire's isn't as good on melee weapons as it is on automatic weapons or heavy guns or shotguns, but it's not bad. Deathclaw Gauntlets are popular. Limb damage on melee weapons is pointless, but the reduced weight effect is good. That makes it a lot easier to carry, and it can still do significant damage for anybody with an unarmed build, so not a bad roll. Instigating Salvaged Assaultron Head. No. Just no. The Salvaged Assaultron Head just doesn't work well. It's not fun to use. Nobody likes it. Immediately turn these back in for script. I don't care what effect is on it. Nobody wants it. Hunter's Combat Shotgun with limb damage and 25% less VATS AP cost. Yeah, not great. Situational main effect. Limb damage is good, but you're running Enforcer if you have a shotgun, so it doesn't really do much for you. Less VATS AP is fine. I mean, if you're running a regular shotgun, go for it. If not, script it. Stalker's Board with swing speed and strength. Swing speed and strength are the effects that you want on a melee weapon. Unfortunately, Stalker's is not, and you definitely don't want them on a board. But I guess we got a little lucky there. Yeah, immediate script. Furious Pipe Revolver with damage while aiming and faster reload. Ooh. Pipe revolvers are interesting because they can double dip in perks. Furious is not the best effect on a slow-firing weapon, but my guess is if you put this in your vending machine, someone will buy it. Ooh, here's a winner. A quad handmade with limb damage and agility. Agility is great for your stealth commandos. It gives you a little more stealth and a little more AP. Limb damage, not amazing, but doesn't hurt. But the quad effect is really, really good. It doesn't give you extra damage, but it gives you much higher magazine capacity, so you can run a magazine with higher armor penetration. If this isn't better than what you have, you can definitely sell that easily. Mutant Slayer's Security Baton with limb damage and agility. No. Just plain no. Situational effect. Limb damage is pointless on a melee weapon, although limb damage, I guess, is probably good for a police baton. But yeah, no thanks. Executioner's Death Tambo. No. Nothing good about that one. Zealot's Metal Right Leg with food, drink, and chem weight reduction and +1 perception. Yeah, nope. Bloodied Grognak's Axe reflects 50% of melee damage while blocking and +1 agility. Not amazing secondary effects, admittedly, but it's a two-handed weapon, it does a lot of damage, and it's bloodied, so it's good. If this isn't better than what you have, you will definitely be able to move this in your vendor. Mutant's Raider Right Leg with Cavaliers and +1 luck. Again, Cavaliers, good effect. Mutants on armor, not the best, but it is an overall buff, so it's not the worst thing to roll, and a lot of people want to build Cavalier sets, so decent. Mutant's Auto Grenade Launcher, no. No one wants a grenade launcher. They're big, they're heavy, they're slow. Explosives in this game just don't do good damage at all. And on top of that, their ammunition is extremely heavy and expensive to craft, so there's just nobody running an explosive weapons build. A bloodied broadsider with faster fire rate and 90% reduced weight. Well, if you're gonna get a broadsider, this is probably the one you want. Unfortunately, broadsiders are terrible. They don't look terrible. The damage looks great on paper. But I will tell you that if you take this and try to kill anything with it, it will laugh at you. Vanguard's Urban Scout armor with breathing underwater and +1 intelligence. Vanguard's is a desirable effect on armor. Any full health build, they're going to like Vanguard's. +1 intelligence is really important for those builds too, because they get a little XP buff from that they don't get because they're not wearing unyielding, so not a bad one to roll there. Not the best in the world, but you'll definitely find somebody that would be interested in that if you're not. Another security baton with a situational effect. Reflect damage back while blocking plus agility. Nope. Instant script. Bloodied Knuckles. Bloodied Knuckles with limb damage and agility. Now, if this was swing speed or power attack damage, this would be a really cool roll for an unarmed build because they're super, super light. But it doesn't have those things, but they're still bloodied, so it could be fun for somebody. I wouldn't write this one off. I'd definitely either try to use it or put it in your vendor. Another situational piece of armor, but it has AP refresh. People like that. Increases a sweet spot of picking locks. Nobody picks locks in this game. Vampire's Rolling Pin. 50% damage back while blocking and 15% less damage while blocking. Yeah, no. Rolling pins are just not good. Maybe for some roleplay characters, but other than that, this is script. Ghoulslayer's Tire Iron with swing speed and endurance. Again, swing speed, great on melee weapons, but tire irons just aren't desirable, and situational effects on weapons aren't desirable, so script. Stalker's Minigun. 10% damage while aiming, 15% faster reload. Both of those second and third effects are good on a heavy weapon. Realistically, you're not using it in VATS, so 10% damage boost is good. Reload speed on a heavy weapon is important. Unfortunately, Stalkers on a heavy weapon is just pointless. You're not using it in VATS, and why would you want to give up all that AP just to get accuracy for one tiny shot? It's just silly the way that some of these effects roll on weapons that they just don't belong on at all. Bethesda would do well to really go through and fine-tune what can drop on certain things, because this would be good if it didn't have the primary effect. Even if that primary effect was just blank, this would be a decent roll. But that primary effect actually makes it worse. Zealot's Left Leg with poison resistance, food, drink, and chem weight reduction. Again, situational effect on armor. Not going to be desirable unless it's troubleshooters, so no thanks. Mutant Slayer's Marine Armor. Here we go again. Situational effect. No, just script. Stalker's Bone Club. Limb damage and strength. A little extra strength doesn't hurt anybody, but everything else on this weapon does. So, no. Cloaking Leather Right Arm with AP refresh and junk item reduction. Cloaking is a fairly pointless effect. AP refresh is good, but the rest of it, no. Bolstering Robot Arm with ammo weight reduction and radiation resistance. Not a bad roll. Not everyone who's running a low health build runs unyielding, so there is some desire for bolstering out there. Rad resistance is good, and ammo weight reduction is good too, so there could definitely be somebody interested in this. A Mutant's Pool Cue. 40% more power attack damage is good. Less damage while blocking is pointless because no one blocks. This isn't Skyrim. Mutants gives you a little bit of a damage buff, so I mean, if this were any other melee weapon, it might not be that bad, but it's a pool cue, so no thank you. A Furious Gauss rifle with 10% damage while aiming and 25% less VATS AP cost. This will sell in your vending machine. Furious is generally a desirable effect. A Gauss rifle is not the weapon you want it on. This is a weapon that you're really trying to kill things in one shot with, but not bad. Another Mutant's robot armor with agility and food, drink, and chem reduction. No. Mutant Slayer's revolutionary sword. No thanks. A Junkie's radium rifle with damage while aiming and VATS critical meter fills faster. This is not a bad roll. For most PvE players, they're not going to really like this, but for PvP players, that could be different. A lot of PvP players tend to lean more towards Junkies for full health than Bloodied. And right now, with ballistic weapons like this, you can't really use VATS in PvP, so not a bad roll there. Vampire's pipe bolt action pistol with fire rate and perception. If this was a regular pipe pistol, it would be a good roll. But because it's bolt action, it's slow, which is not ideal for vampires. Faster fire rate doesn't really help much with that. And perception is good, but it's just not a great roll. Mutant's light machine gun with fire rate and agility. Not a terrible roll. Mutants gives you a little bit of a damage buff. Fire rate increases your DPS. Everybody likes a little more agility. I mean, this thing will chew through ammo like you wouldn't believe and is definitely second class to some other effects that are out there, but not a bad roll. And now we're jumping to my PC character, Lightning Round. No. Yes. Unyielding and Sneak are good. Zealot's Pitchfork with limb damage, no thank you. Zealot's Raider right leg, no thank you. Unyielding Trapper leg with more durability is okay. Unyielding's always good. Another Stalker's minigun. Yeah, no thanks. Goodbye. Junkie's baseball bat with power attack damage and take less damage while power attacking. That's a solid roll. Any Junkie build that wants a melee, solid roll. Ghoul Slayer's left leg with luck and food reduction. Nope. Weightless Trapper left leg. Weightless is an effect people like. Doesn't have great secondary effects, but Weightless is alright. Suppressor's Deathclaw Gauntlet with limb damage and reduced weight, no. Exterminator's Axe with swing speed and agility. The swing speed's great, the rest of it sucks. Assassin's Marine Armor left leg with weapon weight reduction. A lot of PvP players would love this piece of armor. Executioner's Black Powder Pistol. That is just bad for 3 reasons. Goodbye. Exterminator's Grenade Launcher. That's more garbage. Bad effect, bad weapon. No thanks. We'll try a couple more here. Chameleon Combat Armor with weight reduction for food and disease resistance. People like Chameleon Armor, so not bad. Not great, but not bad. Poisoner's Metal Right Arm with troubleshooters and food reduction. Yeah, no, just not great. Troubleshooter's Gatling Gun with fire rate and agility. Yeah, that's just not one people are going to go for. And that's what 4,440 script looks like at the mystery pick sale. What did you think of the haul? Honestly, I was okay with it. I've kind of reached the point where I'm not really rolling for items for myself anymore, just to fill my vending machines. In that regard, I'm content. I love selling cheap legendary items in my vendors. It makes other people happy and keeps my caps flowing. Still, I can't help but feel like anyone rolling for themselves would have been pretty disappointed with that. I really hope that a deep look at legendary effects is coming in the future. There are just too many things that don't work effectively or don't fit the items they drop on. So many that it risks making things like this feel less like fun and more like a chore. That's never something you want anyone to feel in a game. With all that said, I'm going to say goodbye for today. If you liked this, found it useful, or anything in between, go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so you don't miss another chance to see the Purveyor hand me another giant bag of mediocrity.